Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to another episode of HGVtalks. We took last week off because it was Easter Sunday, and Easter was a pretty big holiday for my family. Not for like the actual fact of it being Easter. It's just my family likes to take those opportunities to get together and hang out and everything. So I just enjoyed the weekend off, and was gonna try to squeeze in an episode on like Monday or Tuesday, but I was catching up on recording for my YouTube playthroughs and the Soul Link and everything. So I was just too busy, and I was like, screw it, I'll just get the video on Sunday. We just took a week off from the podcast. We do got a couple comments, a couple questions from the last episode, which is awesome. So I'll get into those in a second. But actually, let's get into them first. Let's get right into them. In the last episode, we were talking about, I responded to Pat's comment about, some beginner streamer tips and things like that. And he said, another thing he was asking is tips for a beginner Pokemon player, which I'm assuming means like if you're going to stream it. What are some tips if you're starting out as a Pokemon streamer? And I haven't put no thought into this yet. I'm just going off the top of the head. But for me, I would say the best thing is to find like a style of what types of games you're going to play, at least at first. Some people like to do ROM hacks. Some people like to do Nuzlocks. Some people want to just play games the old-fashioned way. I think getting a style of which one you want to do is good. For me, I'll use myself as an example. Nuzlocks were just my favorite thing to do, and they still are to this day. And as a beginner Pokemon player, if it's not just a streaming thing, I would say the best thing you can do is play a lot. Because there's so many Pokemon, especially if you're playing newer games. There's, over 1,000 Pokemon now. And they all have different abilities and different typings and different stat, distributions. So just playing the game more and more, you'll just, off the top of your head, you'll know certain Pokemon and what they do. So playing just a lot is obviously easy. Watching some competitive Pokemon is really good. In my opinion, I watch Joey Pokeaim MD, some Thunder Blunder, MV, just a couple people off the top of my head. They do Pokemon Showdown. They do a lot of content like that on YouTube. And, they do, obviously, it's built teams, different like IV and EV spreads and all that stuff. And you get to see a lot of different strategies that they use and different types of, little niche, mechanics that certain Pokemon might have that you might not really understand how they work, or you just might not be aware that they can do this. Some abilities have like secondary effects that you don't even know about, or some moves, in double battles can be used a certain way. So watching a lot of competitive is good. And yeah, I think just playing through games is really good because, just especially randomized, over time, you fight enough Rayquazas and Groudons and Electros and I don't know, just random Pokemon. And as you play it more and more, you see them at different levels. You kind of have an idea what kind of movesets they'll have, what kind of abilities they have, and just you'll learn how to deal with them. I remember the first time doing a Nuzlocke, I remember like it was before I ever streamed. I just randomly decided to do one because I watched people do them. I was just doing one on my own, and I was like, oh man, this is so hard to do. Like I thought it was so difficult, and now doing them, it's just how to make sure your team's leveled up, knowing how to make sure your team has like good coverage for everything. Obviously, when you're doing Nuzlocke, it's not completely up to you. If you only are catching water types, you have really bad luck. You can only do so much. But if you are able to build a team, you have a lot of good options, a lot of good variety. You can, you can look at your team and say, oh, you can immediately see a weakness. Like, oh, if I fight a Zapdos, I'm done. If I fight a Machamp, it's over. I have no fighting resist, or I don't have a good fighting resist. So it's good to just analyze your team. And I like to go through typings. Like some of the best offensive typings is like ground, fighting, flying, ice. Just kind of just go off the top of your head of some typings. Like, what do I do if I run to a fire type? Do I have an answer to that? Do I have any fire resist? Do I have a flying resist? And just kind of go through each typing. It's kind of a good way about it. And, sometimes you can't make a perfect team. Sometimes you'll be like, all right, I'm weak to dark, and that's kind of all I got. And, you just gotta think about like, all right, I got this thing. It's neutral to dark. It's not weak to it. And it can learn a fighting move. And this will be my answer. It's the best thing I got, So just I think just being aware of your team's strengths, weaknesses, and just learning about what each Pokemon does and what their strengths, weaknesses are is just kind of the best way to get better at Pokemon. IMO. Um, Snowman said, "When you gonna get good?" And I said, "Eventually." It's just Snowman saying, "Get good." He's been saying that for nearly 20 years now. He's been telling me that. What's your favorite thing about streaming? This is from Benny. The thoughtful comments. Benny, you are such a nice guy. He's, we talk a lot of smack, but Benny you do support on podcasts, every single YouTube video, all the streams, except on Kick. You're in the Discord, you're in fantasy football, you're extremely, extremely, what's the word I'm looking for? You're in there's a word I'm thinking of how to explain it. You're a crucial member of the community. Crucial is not the word. That's why you go to school, kids. You're a vital part of this community. I don't know if that's the word. You're instrumental. I don't know. You are very supportive on all the platforms and everything like that. And I know we talk shit, but I do appreciate that. I really do. Not just aside from the fact that you donate like a psychopath. Aside from that, you are also extremely, extremely helpful. But what is your favorite and least favorite thing about streaming? I'll just consider it just content creating in general. But my favorite thing is being your own boss and being able to just take days off. Like it sounds obviously like, oh, yeah, you're just not work if you don't want to work. But sometimes like shit happens, there's stuff going on, and like you're sacrificing. I'm just not going to work today, and I'm going to lose money because of it. But so be it. Like you can make that decision at least. At least being able to make that decision is good. You can call out of work if you have a regular job and you won't get paid unless you have sick time or whatever. But say you call out, you don't get paid for the day, but you get to take the day off. But you also get in, they kind of look at you like, oh, you took an extra day off, and then it kind of looks like a negative strike. For me, it's just the freedom of being able to prioritize things the way I want to prioritize them, is one of the things I like the most about it. And the freedom, honestly, just playing video games, obviously, it's my dream. It's my dream job. And the fact that I'm able to, I started my dream job when I was 29 full time, which is freaking awesome. Some people don't ever get to do that. So I'm extremely happy about that. And that's definitely one of my favorite things about it. The fact that I can produce content that and just like a place for people to come hang, and it really seems to be, helpful in their lives is extremely, I'm grateful for that. There's a lot of people like I said, we talk shit. We talk more shit than most communities probably do. But I know at the end of the day, people are really grateful to have a place to come and talk smack like that. And, it's a bright spot in a lot of people's lives. And that's definitely like my favorite part about it. My least favorite thing about it is the lack of security of everything. Like, there's no guarantees in content creation. You can do whatever you want, but there's no guarantee it's going to work. There's no guarantee that 2 years from now I'll be able to be doing this. There's no guarantee that there's no permanence to anything, and that's a very terrifying thing. It gets really, really stressful to look at analytics and stuff, and you try not to, but you kind of have to. Like, I'm at the point where it's like, it's my full-time income, and I'm not just relying on my wife's income. Like, she obviously makes good money and everything, and she pays bills and all that stuff too, but like, my income's not just for me to play around with. Like, my income's still a very vital part of this freaking household, and if I wasn't making money, then I couldn't do it anymore. So the fact that I really rely on the income is stressful, considering that a bad month creates a bad month for my household. Where in a good month, just kind of helps recoup from some of the bad months. So look, and at any moment, it could drop off a cliff, and I could be making half of what I already make, or way less than half what I already make. And the fluctuation of the income is definitely my least favorite part about it. But I feel like it's getting more and more consistent at least. With the consistent community, obviously the support from everybody is insane, and I've obviously been working so hard on this YouTube for the past like 2 years. Ugh, excuse me, last year and a half, 2 years. I have almost 1,000 videos posted, and it's not really making much, but it's growing, and I'm hopeful that maybe within the next year it'll start to become a more steady income from that. Just like ad revenue and stuff from Facebook as well. Facebook, it's doing pretty good, but you just never know what's with that. But yeah, just overall the inconsistency and the lack of permanence of anything and guarantees of where your money's coming from is really stressful. Aside from money, my least favorite thing is probably relying on. I don't think this really affects me too much though. I'll say like relying on like games being out that are fun to play in front of people. Like I think I've really enjoyed playing Pokemon the way I do it, the Purgatory stuff. Like I'm doing 2 YouTube playthroughs, the Red and Blue Soul Link, doing the Pokemon Black Breeze Lock, and I'm streaming Soul Silver, and I'm streaming Soul Silver like every single day pretty much, and I'm not sick of it at all. Like I'm playing so much Pokemon and I still enjoy it, so I'm not really relying on new game releases. But there are moments when I'm just not in the mood to play Pokemon, and I want to play something else, and it's like you just gotta find something to play. And if there's no games that are out right now that you're enjoying, it's like you're kind of reliant on a different industry to release things that are up your alley. Because I can't just play anything and it's gonna work. Because if I play any game, even if I do enjoy it, if it's not Pokemon, it immediately loses half the viewership. And without viewership, there's no money, and if there's no money, there's no full-time content creating. So it's a weird loophole. Luckily, I love Pokemon, and that's my most popular thing, but like there's also, if I ever started really hating Pokemon, I'm screwed. But that's how most content creators are. If you start, there's always a main game. Pretty much every single creator has a main game, or did at one point. If you're big enough now and you can play whatever you want, there was a point in your life when you only played Call of Duty, or you only played Halo, or you only played Fortnite, whatever it is, or just Pokemon. Maybe you can get to a point where you can have the bad months because you're playing different games and whatnot, but I'm not there yet, but we're working on it. I mean, like I said, like people like Benny and stuff that support and they show up no matter what I'm playing. Seth shows up all the time. I always gotta shout out Seth. But I definitely have a very, very great community, as much as they talk shit. It does give me the ability to really try things out. But yeah, I think that's any other least favorites or favorite things about streaming. I don't know. I think I kind of covered it. I'm sure I could complain about a lot of things. Pretty good at that. But yeah, and then Max said, "How do I keep penis away from my mouth?" But that's just Max. That's just what he says. So leave that alone. Max, I can't help you. I've tried in the past. I can't. All right. After that, what else has been going on the past few weeks? Like I said, we're doing 2 YouTube series right now. I've been doing so many videos, man. It's honestly doesn't feel as overwhelming as it is. Like I'm about to hit 1,000 videos on YouTube. The amount of work and time I put into YouTube compared to what I get out of it is very, very little. I guess if I include Facebook, it's probably worth it. But kind of what I was just covering, I don't want to be stuck to doing just sabotage Pokemon Nuzlocke to ever make a living doing content creation. So I'm really trying to, expand my content portfolio. So I'm doing a podcast. Podcast is good for me mentally, and it's good for me to expand what I'm doing and see other sides of what I do. So that, and then like I said, the series on Facebook and stuff. Facebook is growing and whatnot, but like I said, Facebook's all over the place, so it's hard to really trust it. There's a new platform, Kick Out. Obviously, we've been trying it out a little bit here and there. The immediate thing is they only take 5% of gifted subs and all the money donated to you, compared to Twitch, which takes 50%. And it's honestly, it's kind of put me in a weird headspace lately, because I really, 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 really try not to focus on the money side of things. Like I pay attention to it and I'm aware of it, and I talk about it openly. Like I don't, you guys know I talk about how much I make all the time with you guys. I'm completely open to it. Um, but my wife's been having a hard time at work lately. Like they're just having a lot of turnover and just a lot of issues. Early in the year is pretty rough, in pharmacies. So she's just having a rough time and she's getting stressed out and like, she's worried about her career position and what she's happy with. And so when this opportunity with Kick opens up, and I look at it from my perspective, and it's like, I have 700 subs on Twitch, or whatever, 500, 700 subs on Twitch. It's like, by the time it gets to me, I'm making like $1,500, and then with YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff, I might make $2,000 in a month. But then I look at if I was on Kick, I'd be making almost $4,000 in a month. And on a good month, I'm making $4,000 or $5,000. That's more than I've pretty much ever made in a month, except from like 1 month in Facebook and the one subathon month. And it's like I could be, if everything was exactly the same as it is on Twitch on Kick, just the price difference, I could make enough money where Michelle might be able to leave the field of pharmacy she's in that, pays the best, but it's the most stressful. She could leave that and do like a field she'd rather be in. Simply if Twitch's payout went from 50 to 5 that they took. And so I've been thinking a lot more about the money of it, but I'm trying to get out of that headset because it stresses me out a lot. But like I said, it's just the least favorite part about streaming is the money side. And this thing with Kick and YouTube and all that, trying out the different platforms, it's been creating more stress for me than I like. I wish I could just click go live and not worry about it every day, but something I got to think about. I'll be testing out Kick. Like I said, I'm not full-time switching to it. I'll do streams over there maybe once or twice a week. Just to, do my research. I gotta, excuse me, I gotta be able to be knowledgeable about other platforms and stuff as kind of my job. Because any day, Twitch could shut down tomorrow. Kick could be the only platform available anymore. And if I've never tried it before, it's just going to be a harder transition. So, and who knows? Maybe Kick ends up really, legitimizing themselves and becomes the better platform. Everyone starts going there. So we'll see. We'll keep our eyes open on it. I've been doing a weight loss challenge since the last episode. It's another thing that's going on. I lost 4 pounds, maybe 5. Feeling good. I haven't been drinking. I drank on Easter. Wait, when was the last podcast uploaded? It was April, 2nd, I think. So that day, so I didn't drink the entire month of March. I drank on April 1st. I was up watching the Final Four games for college basketball and drank with some friends. And I drank twice that week, and I drank on Easter. And I'm back to not drinking again. I'm already back to not drinking again because my body just, after you go so long without it and you start feeling so much better, it's like you notice how crappy drinking makes me feel. When you're doing it consistently, it just feels like another day. You don't really even notice it. But when you get into the situation where you feel really good not drinking, the drinking makes you feel so much worse. So I think I'm going to go back to not drinking. I mean, I don't know how long. I want to, try some wine in Italy and stuff like that, but I think I might become a very, 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 very situational drinker. I might not do it much at all anymore. So I'm happy about it. It's good for my health. I'm trying to get back in shape. I've been playing basketball with my nephews, doing a lot of good cardio, getting ripped, jacked. Yes. Yeah, I'm down to 194, which is pretty good. I want to get down to 170, 165 maybe. I haven't been down to 170 in 3 years. I have this weight weight gurus. It's my scale links with it. So I was looking at my all-time weight. The first time I did it was May 2016. I was 187 pounds. And then that was May 2016. April 2017, I was 174 pounds. April 2017. I think that was when I was working at Ocean Spray. Yeah, I was at Ocean Spray. I used to be a machine operator there, and I was going to the gym. I was working 12 hours overnight, machine operating, crazy exhausting job. And then I was going to the gym in the morning. And then I immediately started a desk job. I went from 174 in April to 184 in June to 196 in May of 2018, the next year. And that was the heaviest I had been in a long time. I think I even hit 200 pounds. I never recorded. But then I switched back to Ocean Spray, went back to that job. And by the end of 2018, I was down to 180. End of 2019, I was 173.7. So I was getting in good shape again. Kind of, that was after like my wedding and everything. I got married in 2019. I was around 175 pounds, which is the weight I kind of like to be at. I think 170, 165 might be better. But I think that's about it. And then since then, man, since you get married, I started working at a brewery. I was drinking all the time at the brewery, and that doesn't help. And then ever since I've been streaming, I've been above 190, pretty much ever since I started streaming. I was 187.6. I did that in May 2021, which was right after I started full-time streaming. I've only weighed in a couple times since then, but I've been between 188 and 192-ish. But yeah, I just weighed in for this weigh-in for this weight loss challenge. I was 198.9, and that was on April 7th. And then I just weighed in yesterday. I was 196.4. Wait, no, I was 194.6. Sorry. So I'm going down. I'm gonna try keeping it down. If I can get down to 175, 170, I think that'll be a really good spot. So I'll try to keep up with that. If you guys have any weight loss tips, I've always asked for it. If you have little tips and tricks that have worked for you, as far as just like eating healthier or just not making bad health decisions or just random little things. If you guys got any tips, let me know. And as always, ask more questions, man. I love it. It kind of gives me a starting point for the podcast, just recovering and, you know, getting the ball rolling by answering questions you guys got. I've always been, I think my best skill as a streamer is my communication with the chat and stuff. So it's kind of my forte. So keep the questions coming, regardless of what they are. It could be, it doesn't have to be streaming related. It could be completely irrelevant. Even if it's a stupid question, I'll entertain it to an extent. Except for Max. I mean, I told you, Max, I tried to help you with that issue, but I can't. Yeah, thank you guys for listening. I'll see you guys again next week. Hopefully you'll have some questions for me. And hopefully I lost a few more pounds by then. So have a good one. Peace out.